Ahoy everybody! Thank you for tuning into Airborne Entrepreneur. Hey everyone, I hope you are having a great day and more conversation about why to even shift from traditional to more connective, higher level of leadership. Why to move from that egocentric, controlling command leadership to more ethical and more servant leadership. I have already shared a lot of for all analytical brains, for C and D energies. I already shared a lot of research that was done, and it's so much out there to see the impact of ethical, great leadership and culture. How culture actually influences performance and results. And I can share a few links if you need more. There is a lot of Harvard research. There's a lot of research done around this topic, and there was a lot of numbers shared from perspective of how many people. I think it was 53% people leaving the job because of the toxicity and toxic culture or toxic leader, and that is alarming. I think the numbers in general are very alarming from perspective of the future of organization or future of our business. And I also can share that from performance of myself and my business, how we changed and how our results changed, because we change as people in a business. We are attracting amazing people that work with us, and I will never say they work for us, because they work with us all the time, and everyone has space in our business, and it's amazing how people grow and change through working with us. And I love that, and I think that change in how we lead and a change of from being or trying to be the best and always controlling and have an idea what everyone does and how they do it, just that release of those responsibilities actually help me as a leader as well to reduce stress, to reduce tension, anxiety, and worries, and all those stories that were making my head so busy. And I moved to more creative space and more heart-centered space, and I'm so grateful for that, because all people are meeting now around me, all people that work with us or I've worked with, are the best people in the world, and I love how they're coming from heart and how we are all aligned. And I really wish that people can and are able to create these kind of cultures where people can thrive, where people can be happy and just feel so good and fulfilled. I think that's probably all of our goals, like all leaders' goal. That means to move from traditional managerial or control command leadership to influential and inspirational leadership is a big journey, right? And I guess it's also a massive aspirational goal to become that leader. And I probably have good news for you. It is a real journey, but actually it's not that hard for those of you or for people that are really open to accept the fact that there is no other way to build actually sustainable, successful team or business. And for those that are really prepared to take a leap, take a massive step and really start to work on themselves and take a chance and improve. And if that's you, if you are prepared, I will share a few things with you that can really help you to start. And I think from perspective to be ethical, heart-centered, or thought leader or servant leader is the most important type of leadership for the future generations. And if you want to enhance balance and well-being and your inner well-being, you must come from servant position. There is no other way, and it is actually so easy. When you will start to do it, you will realize how actually simple that is. There is not a lot of rules around that. It's just being truly you and understanding how to put yourself into that servant heart. And look, I will probably say where to start or how to do it when you want to move from analytical mind more to heart and more to feelings, or from that rigid structure to intuition and use more of that intuition in business and leadership. And coming from stress and anxiety to more confidence and power, and from that control and command to influence and trust. That's the massive change, and all this will come actually when you will start to become that leader in servant position or servant heart. And what would this move or shift gives you? Why we even talk about it? The first and most important is that it will help you yourself or help you to improve and reduce stress and mental burnout, but also it will help people around you to do the same. And you will reduce the feelings of overwhelm or desperation, or, that feeling of unfulfillment when we really don't know why we are here, and in questioning everything and worrying about everything. But because you will understand the process and how you can become better internally, you will reduce all those mental blocks and limiting beliefs and stress, and you will improve productivity, and I can't even say what everything, but time management as well, communication, confidence, of course, influence, and you will reduce that feeling of resistance, that negative feeling inside that we sometimes have, that little bit of anger, frustrations, all that resistance coming up. You will be able to reduce that, and for some people also get rid of that. Also reduce the brain fog or some old habits that are not serving you. I'm so excited about this topic. It's probably the one of the most important messages that I would like to share today, or I'm sharing today. And yeah, I would love to help them. I decided to share 5 steps, 5 simple areas or steps to actually become that great leader, and what to focus on or what we need to change, just to give you idea what we do in our Leadership 6.0 course as well, and show you how important those 5 things are. In our Leadership 6.0, we have 6 methods, but the 6th step is actually measurements. That means I'm not going to teach you measurements because that will be probably 10 hours of our podcast, and I don't want you to spend so much time with me right now. That means I will give you something more lighter and something that you can do without me, and something that you can start to focus without me. The first and most important thing is to bring awareness to your limiting beliefs, or we call that premises. Some of them are deeper inside of us, developed when we were children, when we were very young, and we can't even remember those. We can't remember those situations that caused those. That means we can have a lot of limiting beliefs. They are not serving us, and start a process, like we call it hunting, for your thoughts. They don't serve you, or the thoughts or limits or beliefs, they don't serve to your goals or desires. And I can give you example. Let's say, for example, when you want to become a great leader and see what actually doesn't serve you and what can be a limiting belief, as an example, is I want to be a servant leader, right? But I'm scared if I let go of the controlling and focusing on daily KPIs and see everything what people do every second of their life or their day. That's massive limiting belief. Or I can give you same example from relationships. Sometimes you may be annoyed by your wife or by your husband, right? The way how they do things, the way they take care of something and they don't care about other things, or the way they respond, or the way they treat kids or friends, whatever it is. But there can be something that really annoys you, and you always tell them how to do it. Like, you should do this, you should do that. Why you don't look at that? This is really bad. And we kind of almost criticizing, right? I want you to see that as a limit of yourself, not your husband or wife. Let me stop controlling them. Let them do things their own way. Let people do things their own way. And let them try that. Because if you will still controlling them and telling them how to do things, they will never take ownership, or they never become responsible for what they do, because it's not their decision anymore. It's the way you told them to do things. That means really, really let go of that and accept that people will actually change if you stop controlling them, and they will change to actually your way. That means you will be actually seeing things they change positive way. What is funny thing that when we let go of, the change becomes actually the change we want. And it will be amazing when you will control people with KPIs every day and pushing on them, and you're not going to focus on anything else, on their attitude or behaviors or what they believe in, and let them breathe, let them do things their pace. You would be surprised how amazing results they can do or they can deliver. We did same thing with sales teams. There were sales teams that were doing like hundreds of calls a day. And they call sometimes the same people. It was terrible. Imagine that someone is calling you every day. You get same sales calls every day. But they were actually fulfilling the quota. There was the quota of hundreds of calls, as a KPI, but they didn't succeed. The success rate was such a conversion rate was such a small, crazy number. And we were like, wow, like your sales team is working so hard and achieving nothing or really tiny numbers. And what they changed is to have less calls and talk about the quality of calls, what they say, how they say it, how they connect with people. And we let them to do it their way and ask them to come from the heart, from real relationship creation, because we want them to connect with people. We want them to know what they need and not just sell them something they don't need. And they did only like tens of calls. They didn't do any hundreds of calls, and they have massive conversion rate, much higher. And I think that's example of, limits. We focus on something and we believe it's so important. But when we see bigger picture, that we realize that small thing wasn't actually that important, even though it sounds so important in perspective of business. Of course, we want to watch KPIs, right? Anyway, I'm going too much into that. The second step is to be aware of your values. And as you know, there is a lot of values aligned cultures and values that companies has on the website, but they don't really live and demonstrate the values. That means from perspective of your personal values are basically our emotional compass. Values are helping us to make right decisions and make right choices. That means to being aware of what are our current values and what we need to create as aspirational values as a new compass and a new tool that will help us to actually live better life. It's really important. And more in our course, of course, we're doing a lot of values elicitations, and we talk about your personal values and also your team values and how they can be implemented into team environment while creating this amazing culture, because that's what is important in leadership. But we need to start from ourselves. That means if your values are not the great ones, and if you value control, you will never become a servant leader, and you will never become the leader that builds trust because you try to control. That means there's a lot of things in this area, and I will continue with third step. Third step is to understanding your core drivers or needs. And we know human needs are probably all around the Google. When you will Google it, I think the first one was Maslow hierarchy of needs. And of course, we need to build that need of security and safety. But what happens? A lot of people are driven by one or two core values most of the time, and that doesn't need to serve to you to achieve great results or to serve you sustainable way. That means what we try to do is to understand which core needs are the ones that the ones that actually direct or guide our life the most, and if those are resourceful or unresourceful. The fourth thing is to understand our thinking patterns, which relates to developmental stages as well, and also which are serving us or not, or it's a little bit of brain work as well. Understand how to build a resilient and flexible brain through empathy and thinking and internal work. That means to understand our dark side and light side as an example, or understand if we are guiding or driving our life from below the line or above the line. There's a lot of models we will talk about from perspective of thinking. That means how we think. Are we in a victim position, or are we empowered and we taking responsibility? Really have a look, because those two are really important in your life. When you take responsibility and you understand that life is under your control, I mean from perspective, you can control yourself. You can control what results you will get. You can control how you will behave, how you think. That is the most empowering thought in the world, that you can actually create what you want because you can create how you think and how you feel. And we know our thinking creates emotions and feelings. That means I will just ask you, take responsibility for that, because all what you're feeling now is just creation of your thinking. That means thinking patterns are the most important, and I love the mind work, brain work, and we will go deeper into that in our course, of course. The fifth and a very creative part of becoming a great leader is language and communication. When you go to Google and you Google the most important skill in the world, it will come up with communication. And it's absolutely amazing because I realize as well, it's the most important part of influential skills or creating influence. We need to master communication. And how we can master that is through our internal work. Because it's not communication from perspective what language we speak, but also understand how we use our language and how we use brain language and how the language can influence the thinking and brain and behaviors and how the visible communication happen and how we can change it. Because communication is not only about talking, but communication from different perspectives. Like, I can give you an example. There was research done in 1996 where they tested monkeys and their brains. They found while monkeys were eating peanuts, it fired up some neurons and made changes in their emotional brain and their emotions. That means they changed their activities. They were actually firing up internally. And what they did same test. They put monkeys who were observing other monkeys that were eating peanuts. That means the observants, they had the same neurons fired up and same emotional reactions and more. There was a lot of emotions and emotional brain was really activated. And that shows us we are constantly influencing others. We are affecting others all the time, at home, in our team, all the time. Even when you're going on the street and you smile at someone, you make someone else a better day for someone else. We fire up other people's brains, right? And neurons and emotions. And this is all attached to those emotions and memory brains. That means people remember that and they created behavior based on that. That means as a leader, when we do something once and we don't make other people feel really good because we say something that is maybe hurting them, they will memorize that, right? And we don't need to see that way. That means we need to change because we have responsibility as leaders to be better because we have natural power over other people's life. And I know we teach people to take responsibility for their lives, but as a leader, we need to understand we are influencing them. We need to learn to be more sensitive, to see this micro body language and micro facial expressions, to ethically and inspirationally to actually respond that human need. And that way we will be able to create a culture where people actually are feeling seen, understood, and heard, and feel like they belong. And that's what we want. We want that inclusivity in our culture. That's our responsibility as a leader. Okay, that's all for now. More in our Leadership 6.0 program. I'm not going into details. I'm not going to talk too much more because it's already almost 20 minutes. I don't want to do this for long. And please check the links, check our other episodes of podcasts, or just book a call and have conversation about servant leadership, about becoming better leader, and really, really move yourself to that higher level of leadership where you will build trust and this amazing team collaboration, engagement, and more happiness in the team. Please contact us anytime, and we are here. We are always here to discuss and help you to brainstorm your ideas, or check where you are at and maybe help you to move to that great higher level of leadership.